Good morning. I am here with Mark Sinnett, President of the State Council from, and unfortunately I don't have it, I think it was 2008, no, 2012 to 13.
2012. Yeah.
Okay. So when you joined the State Council, were you a staff member or management or student?
Actually, I was a resident, and I actually was told to join the New York State Council by Tom O'Brien and before that, Wayne Conrad. They said, you need to join this organization. So I did. And it was probably the best directive I ever had. So to join the council and ASHP for that matter, too.
So what made you want, who or what made you want to advance in the organization?
I think a couple of things. First of all, my real passion that I paraphrase Mahatma Gandhi. You must become the change that you want to see. I could not see myself complaining or being frustrated about things that aren't happening if I wasn't part of it. So that was important to me, but also it was the camaraderie. Our colleague Lee Briscoe Dwyer said, and when you join the council, they first become your colleagues, then your friends, and then your family, and that's transpired that way 1,000%. I love the people that are involved with the council.
How many of the previous presidents did you know and what were they like? And this is
Previous presidents.
before you now.
Yeah, depending on how young I was scared of a few of them because they were like big shots, and I looked up to them and I watched how they did things. But I knew personally maybe three or four of them, including John Manzo and Frank Sosnowski, Ted Friedman, and a few others yourself. But then there was the other generation of those gifted people. Kirk Kleinman was an example, and he was a little different because he was my boss. And but Bernard Mell, I kind of like was a little scared of him because I didn't really know him, but he was a Harvey A.K. Award winner. So what can you say? Yeah.
Okay. So what challenges did you see as a member, board member, and president of the organization?
I didn't really have any challenges as a member because I was given lots of communication, lots of opportunities to go to meetings. Um, Being a board member, a lot of it had to do with time management because you were given a lot of responsibility. Fortunately, I knew what that responsibility was going to be, and I loved doing it. So I didn't mind working the extra hours to achieve our goals. Um, President was a lot about you have to work with a bunch of really very committed, but probably overcommitted individuals to try to get the board to achieve our goals was challenging because again, time limits. To be a president, you really need to know how to manage a group and manage a committee. And I had some skills of that at Montefiore, but I had to learn it even more as a member of the board and chairman of the board.
Seeing the council grow through the years, do you think we've met all of these challenges?
Yeah, particularly after the pandemic. And I give so much credit to Sean Flynn and Bill Prescott and others who got us through the financial challenge. And now we're beyond that. But the challenge is going to be to keep don't forget what got us into a financial situation, and we're building back up our financial reserves. So that's good. The other thing too would be to never give up. We need to aspire to a higher goal. And we don't see this too often, but every once in a while, even on the board level, we look at what we can't do versus what we need to do and just keep pushing forward. So the challenge would be not to get too discouraged. I mean, we have questions about the Pharmacy Practice Act or our CDTM laws, et cetera. Got to keep the focus on the future, keep the focus on 5 years ahead. So that would be the bigger challenge. We have to think about today, but we also have to think about 5, 10 years from now.
Membership has always seemed to be an issue. Do you remember what members wanted during your presidency?
What members wanted,
Yeah.
a lot of times it's what they couldn't get. You know, you want lower registration fees, you want a free membership or a free registration to the annual assembly. Um, I don't remember that being a challenge, only because if you explain it correctly, and then people are okay with it. I think the bigger challenge, though, Ted, would be to get those people that aren't members to come on board. We have to convince them that this is a great organization to network, to become family with, that this is an organization that has helped uh, with advancing practice in New York State, CDTM and immunization technicians. All this became in large part due to the lobbying efforts of our organization. But you got to get people to know that, to believe that, and to take the time to come to our meetings and to get involved. So it's not really the membership, it's the people that aren't members yet.
Okay. How often and where did the board meet? Was it very organized, professional, or was it more camaraderie?
Very organized. The executive director there, Deb Feinberg, kept a nice organization. Same with the staff at the council. It was absolutely camaraderie, but we didn't go there to hang out. We can do that all the time. It was really to achieve a goal. So it was really well established. I think the organization over the years has done a good job at keeping that. So I had an agenda, I had the minutes, they were always prepared, always ready to go, and we got a lot done.
Okay. Were there any mishaps or major issues when you were president, which would be useful for future presidents not to repeat?
Yeah, I actually had to let one of my board members go that year because we had rules. You had to attend a certain number of meetings, whether it be on the phone. We didn't really have the Teams or Zoom, so by phone or in person, and this individual just never made it. So I had to have that tough conversation. So if there's anything we need to do is remind people of what your obligation is beforehand, because it's a lot of work. Being a board member isn't just something to put on your CV. You need to be part of it. You need to be part of that change. So that was the biggest challenge that I had.
Okay. Annual assemblies. When you became a member, what were the earliest annual assemblies like, and when you became a member, what were the early assemblies like, and where were they held?
My first annual assembly was held at the Pines when I was a resident up in the Catskills. Um, it was again, I was a resident. I didn't know anybody really, so it was kind of a little nerve-wracking. So I clung close to like John Manzo, for example, who always was more involved. And then but the atmosphere was so inviting, and we all had a shared common goal that it was easy to kind of start to acclimate. But I remember those days with fondness. It was a lot of fun, which is why I'm going to keep coming back until I can't stand anymore, because I just love the organization. I love the annual assembly. Yeah.
Okay. What was it like when you were president? Was it busy, chaotic, or sedate?
Not today. Uh, our Norm Gallagher, I asked Norm, so you got any advice for me, Norm? He says, just tell your wife we'll see you in a year. You're going to be pretty busy. And it was absolutely true. But, I realized I had 1 year to make an impact. So it wasn't chaotic. It was just very busy. I traveled to all the local chapter meetings or board meetings. Because my goal was to try to increase participation, but also move the profession forward into a direct patient care model. So leadership was big. So it was not chaotic. It wasn't sedate, but it was it was really busy. My wife was very glad when I became past president. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Generational changes.
Yeah.
When you started, did you feel you needed to work your way up to the presidency? Did you feel new members will want to pay their dues based upon the philosophy to have a bigger balance of personal time versus work time? Will the new members be able to move the council forward?
Yeah, that's a great question because we ask that question a lot in the hospital too, and even during what a resident is now versus what a resident was back 20 years ago when you and I were younger. Um, that's going to be something we're going to have to watch carefully because people are much more even if they take a leadership role, they want their not 9 to 5, but they want really subscribed hours. And you want to be on the board or even a committee chair, a board member, or a president. You've got to say my time is the board is the council for a year, or my time. 10% of my time is going to be working on New York State Council events or activities. Yeah, we're going to have to watch that and have a lot of discussion with our younger generation as to how we can keep that involvement, but that work-life balance has become very, very important. Yeah.
Any final parting nuggets that you want to impart to future members who wish to become president?
Take, do it. Do it. Be prepared though. Go through the committee count. I did a lot of that. I was a committee members. I started with the membership committee, which was to me like, you got to start somewhere. That's where everybody starts. And then you work up to a committee chair. I chair the annual assembly's educational program, and then you become a board member. You learn those experiences. But if you get the opportunity, take it because it is busy, but I've never ever looked back. I've never regretted it. I like I said, that was a joy to me to be president of this organization, and I will never. I plan wherever I end up being in the next 10 years. I'm always going to come back for that annual assembly because it's just part of me now. So yeah, it's wonderful. This organization is one of the best affiliates in the country, and it continues to be. It continues to grow and evolve, and it's because of the great people that are involved with it.
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll end our recorded session.